Hello, fellow followers, and welcome to FanZcene. And today I have for you my review of the Creative Reset 4+ hour documentary, executive produced by Robin Block, directed by David Weiner, a journey through 80s sci-fi, and that would be In Search of Tomorrow.
1980 science fiction has all of those elements that make greatness in cinema and storytelling.
Buckaroo, what's up?
It's an amazing period of sci-fi.
It was sci-fi movies that you began to take seriously.
The characters were stunning, so you can relate to it.
It was very entertaining and frequently very touching.
It was a fantastic experience, and I had a gas.
This documentary was everything I could have asked for and more. I've absolutely loved David Weiner's In Search of Darkness documentaries. The first one probably being one of my all-time favorite documentaries. The second one, no slouch in that department either. They're just so great, so thorough, so fun, so fascinating. And this journey through 80s sci-fi from 1980 to 1989, man, did it take me back into my childhood. And you know, just to hear the stories from all the actors and creators and people behind the scenes of all these movies that we all grew up with or are finding today in some cases, and what sci-fi means to so many people and to the fans, and the history of these movies and sci-fi and how they inspired you and wanted you to reach for the stars, and you know what kind of stories can be told with sci-fi. And I think David Weiner achieved something very similar in this documentary about you know, taking you back to when sci-fi was fun, fascinating, exciting, and he really challenged you to think about these movies and to reach for the stars again. And he just, the man knows how to tell a story in the decade of the 80s, from horror to sci-fi. And this was I mean, it's sci-fi, man.
Loved looking up into the stars and imagining what's up there.
Time travel, multiple versions of yourself. A lot of those movies are really awesome.
Sometimes sci-fi does reflect what's going on in society.
Running Man preempted reality TV.
This little movie predicted the world that we're living in right now.
Like Kirk could talk to somebody in their watch or their little phone. We thought, oh, that'll never happen.
Scotty, beam me up.
I just loved that stuff growing up.
It would be impossible to cover absolutely everything I want to cover in this little YouTube review here, you know, with the documentary being 4+ hours. But I'm going to go over some of the stuff that I really like, really enjoy, really touched me. And, you know, starting with the year 1982. If you're a movie fan, you're a sci-fi fan, a horror fan, you know, a lot of great stuff came out in 1992. And you know, you had Poltergeist, you had The Thing, you had Blade Runner, Star Trek 2, you had Tron, and they cover a lot of these in this. And it was so fun to hear these, you know, the stories of these movies. And I kept waiting for them to cover The Thing. And I know they basically covered The Thing in the Search of Darkness movies. I kept waiting for that because that's part of 1982. And it, you know, it's a sci-fi movie. It's also a horror movie. But they ended up covering Barry Bostwick's Megaforce, which that's one of the reasons why I love these documentaries, because just when you think you're getting, you know, all these movies, like you're getting Tron, you're getting Star Trek 2, and then they throw in Megaforce, and you're like, what? Megaforce? That movie, it was designed by a toy company, basically, and it's just so crazy and cheesy, and that's why I love these documentaries and learning about these sci-fi movies and stuff, too, because it's not just the main ones that we all think of, we all know and love. It's movies like Megaforce out there, too, that just, you know, captured your imagination. Cheesy, bad, you know, just crazy nonsense. And it was fun to hear Barry Bostwick talk about that, and it was fun to hear, you know, the stories of Tron and Blade Runner, and oh man, Blade Runner, I love Blade Runner. It was fun to hear those stories as well too, and just have like Megaforce within Blade Runner, Tron, Wrath of Khan in 1982. That is crazy. That is something special in this documentary that I think they achieved very well.
I like it if there's a bit of a human element.
No matter where you go, there you are.
You go through so many different emotions.
Can you say E.T.?
Jeff Bridges, he is Starman.
Yes, that was me in Galaxy of Terror.
Blade Runner was just amazing.
More human than human is our motto.
Road Warrior today is more relevant than when we shot it.
You can run, but you can't hide!
Between the years, they do kind of like cover certain things like special effects and practical effects and stuff like that, which was really great, and love hearing about, you know, Rick Bottin and everything he did, because they do talk about the thing and stuff like that, and like the special practical effects and what they were striving for, what they were reaching for, and how sci-fi inspires actual science stuff, and how science stuff actually inspires sci-fi stuff, which was really great to learn. And it was, and you know, it was a fun trip through history and time and everything. And you know, there was a segment on the Challenger explosion. Man, did that take you back? I mean, I was a little kid, so I don't remember a whole lot about that, but I know about it. I remember hearing about it. I remember learning about it, and how, and you know, to know that Star Trek 4 was dedicated to the members of Challenger, and how it affected so many people in the sci-fi community and in the people making these sci-fi movies. And it was just, it was something, you know, that was a little something extra in the movie, because you're going through this journey of these movies and you're learning about them and you're enjoying it. Like, oh, I remember that movie. Oh, I remember that movie. Oh, I've never heard of that movie. I'm going to have to pick that movie up. And you get the stuff about the Challenger and all the practical effects and the inspirations, and it combines and blends so well. And you know, I dug that.
Anybody says which is the best Superman, they say 2.
Dune, Universal thought this thing's going to be huge.
Terminator, Jim had a certain vision.
I'll be back. In Predator, I was the ultimate tough guy. I ain't got time to bleed.
It still plays.
Vasquez, she was a soldier. She had nothing to lose.
Sigourney just took care of me on set.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Speaking of practical effects and special effects in general throughout these movies, you know, we learned so much about how much practical effects there was, and also, but you know, we also learn about the emergence of CGI, which, for better or worse, we have CGI now. I prefer practical effects, but it was interesting to hear the evolution of CGI throughout these sci-fi movies in the 80s, you know, starting with Last Starfighter, which it was very heavily CGI'd, and you know, the movie was make or break because of that, and there's so much work put into that, and that was like one of the first movies that was heavily CGI'd, but I love that movie. It's a great movie, and it's a combination as well, too, of practical effects and CGI that works so well. And then by the time we get to 1989, we also get James Cameron's Abyss, which, you know, James Cameron, he's one of the pioneers of CGI, for better or worse. But you know, we have that, and that was really interesting and fun to learn about these movies, and just to hear so many people talk about these movies. Once again, Lance Guest and Catherine Mary Stewart from the Last Starfighter. I loved hearing those. You know, I loved hearing from them. It was so great, and I got to say, my favorites were Joe Dante, the late great Ivan Reitman, which hearing his interviews now on This in Search of Tomorrow, you know, it brings another level of, like, we've lost him now, so it's another level of, like, I don't know, like nostalgia, childhood stuff, that because he provided us with so much great entertainment, so much fun, so much enjoyment, and we have this little capsule of him on film now, talking about these films and what they meant to him and how they came about. And it just, I really dug that. I really liked that, and I could listen to him and Joe Dante and you know, so many others in this. It was just fascinating, and Peter Weller on RoboCop and all that, and it was just, oh man, the stories these people have and the movies, the love of these movies, man. It's one of the reasons why I do this channel, is just because of these movies. I love sharing these movies. I try not to get political or anything, and just, you know, I just love sharing good movies, and you know, they do that for the most part in this documentary.
Oh, move, creep.
Paul Verhoeven made us care.
The costume is not like this. The costume is like this.
Laser guns, lightsabers.
Star Wars set the bar. The aliens, the world building.
The Last Starfighter, groundbreaking CGI.
Unbelievable. These guys are geniuses, you know.
It's over, Prime.
Gordon's alive. Shall we play a game?
You find her. That's what he does.
S.D. Bliskin.
Call me Snake.
Oh, Back to the Future.
They're kind of cheesy. It still was like this wonderful cheese in a way.
So many amazing sci-fi movies in a single decade.
We felt so creative and we were so loose.
There will never be another time like it, ever.
I mean, it's all classic.
You've got to look at it and be proud of it.
Can't we go back to what I grew up with, which is the beauty of sci-fi and imagination?
My God, it's full of stars.
That's the magic of sci-fi, man.
So that's all I have for you today on my review of In Search of Tomorrow. Let me know what you guys thought about this in the comments section down below. If you like this review, what are some of your favorite sci-fi movies? And, you know, for those backers out there, I can't wait for you guys to see this movie. It is really, really good. And, you know, I thank you guys for watching wherever you guys are. Please have a great, safe, happy, healthy day, morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Please subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. I would truly appreciate that if I earned your subscription. And, Godspeed.